Good evening. This is Shindo. Breaking news tonight. Now, if the United States wasn't aware before, if you as an American, which I am sure most of you who hear my videos are Americans, if you as an American have not heard, if you're not already concerned about what's going on in Syria, well, here's some more news to concern you even more. It looks like China now is getting involved, going to be on the side of Assad and the Syrian government. So now we have China. Now we have Russia. Russia launches, by the way, again today out of Iran. News that you're not hearing anything about because it's more important about some guys making up a holdup down in Brazil. So, to the real news. If you want to hear the real news, then I suggest that you subscribe to this channel. I ask you to sub, to like, and to comment my videos. Otherwise, they will be buried. This is from RT. China to play greater role in Syria while U.S., quote, left out. Are we seeing the start of a new anti-Islamic State coalition with Russia, Iran, and China involvement in Syria? How could it influence the balance of power in the region? What reaction could be expected from the West, particularly from countries involved in Syria? It's not, as long as Obama's president, the only reaction you're going to get is him playing more golf. China is set to increase its involvement in the Middle East by providing military training and humanitarian aid in Syria. The announcement came shortly after Russia said it started using Iran's Hamid Air Base to launch airstrikes on terrorist targets in Syria. They're all lining up, folks. RT discussed with experts the timing and significance of China's decision to offer military help to the Syrian government. Is this the start of a new coalition, given that Turkey has also said it is going to resume its airstrikes against the Islamic State, IS, formerly ISIS, ISIL, and asked Russia to carry out joint operations against, quote, the common enemy, unquote. Michael Maloff, a former Pentagon official, noted that China has actually been in Syria, quote, for quite some time, unquote. Quote, China has always had a presence through the Middle East. You see it in Lebanon a great deal, but they are very quiet about it, very subtle. They have been providing military assistance and training to the Syrian army. They are going to increase that now, unquote, he told RT America. According to Maloff, quote, this represents something a little more subtle. You're not hearing much about it, unquote. Quote, and that is that China and Russia are prominent members of what is called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO. Iran wants to become a member. That's 17 countries in all that are either prominent members or partners, which also include Turkey, Iran, India, Pakistan, and countries in Central America. It's a large organization, unquote, he said. Quote, the SCO, while it's economic in nature, has become more of a counter-terrorism entity, and that's where the Chinese feel that they need to be. But it also reflects the fact that the SCO gives them a greater presence and influence in the Middle East along with Russia and Iran, unquote. The latest developments indicate that U.S. is, quote, being basically left out, unquote, with regard to its role in the Syrian conflict, Maloff said. The former Pentagon official also noted that Syrian President Bashar Assad said in March that when it comes to the reconstruction of Syria after the war is over, Iran, Russia, and China will be given priority. Andrew K. Pao Long is an independent strategist on China says, quote, there is definitely more coordination between China, Russia, and Turkey, unquote, on the Syrian crisis, but he doesn't think that it's the start of a new coalition. While each of these countries pursues national interest by getting involved in Syria, stabilizing the region would be beneficial for all of them, he told RT. Quote, in any sense, they will be seeing as solving a lot of problems plaguing not just the Middle East, but mitigating the refugee problem, and it also adds to their national prestige. But I don't think there is a kind of military bloc against the West, unquote, he added. Quan Do-Q, a political expert from China Radio International, has called the Chinese decision, quote, significant, as it could become the first step for a country to get involved in the situation in Syria. China is siding with the Syrian government and supports Russian involvement in the anti-terrorist fight in the region, he says. In case you don't know, the United States of America is against the Syrian government and Assad. This puts China and Russia on the opposite side of this conflict in Syria. Quote, China has its own problems with terrorist attacks, and at least 100 Chinese citizens are fighting along with ISIS, unquote, the expert told RT. He went on to say, however, that peace and stability in the region are critical to China. Quote, because 50% of Chinese oil imports come from this region, unquote. Quote, China has tried to invite representative groups from Syrian government and also from the rebel groups to try to negotiate peace. Yet those efforts went nowhere because it is difficult for them to reach any agreement. But now China is following basically its own diplomatic policy here, supporting this internationally recognized and also legitimate government in Syria, the Assad government, unquote, Zhu added. Folks, if you want the real news, you sure as heck aren't going to get it by watching it on TV. And you sure aren't going to get this on Yahoo or any of these major news online websites. If you want the real news, if you want to know what's really going on, here we have China backing up the Assad government. Russia already is. Russia is already flying their jets out of Iranian bases. Are you hearing about this anywhere else? If the answer to that is no, then subscribe to my channel and click like for my videos. Otherwise, these are going to be buried. They're going to be buried. I do not monetize my videos. I am doing this simply because I believe that this information is important enough that people should know about it. This is Shino. Have a good day.